Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the FIZ show. We're here at Ciela Resort. It's the private sector day with PPDF, and my name is Clarence on behalf of Financial Insight. I'm sitting here with Mr. Siwale. He's the CEO of Pangaea Securities, and Pangaea Securities are one of the sponsors of the conference that's happening here, being championed by His Excellency the President. Mr. Siwale, welcome to the FIZ show.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Okay. So, if you could please just tell us a little bit about Pangaea Securities, what the business is about, what you're into, what you do. Thank you.
No, of course. So Pangaea Securities is one of the founder members of the Lusaka Stock Exchange.
Okay.
The original blueprint of the market was established by the founders of Pangaea Securities, a group brought to Zambia by the World Bank and the Zambian government in 1993. And when they completed that process, they set up Pangaea Securities. So we've been around for nearly 30 years, operating in the Zambian market. Our focus is the capital market. We're a broker, and we're also a primary dealer, which means we bring companies to the exchange. Over the years, of course, 30 years later, the company has evolved a lot, has changed a lot. So we provide capital raising services for private companies that are not on the stock exchange. We opened an office in South Africa. We've got an office in Johannesburg, and we use that office to service clients in the region. So we have clients in Botswana, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, South Africa itself, of course. Zambia is still the hub, and it's really the home, and a lot of support comes from Zambia for those transactions.
Okay.
We also have what we call a supply chain financing business, or invoice discounting business, as some people call it. A business called Pangaea ADD Capital.
Yes.
I'm glad you've come across it.
Yes.
It's headquartered on the Copper Belt, and we provide working capital to small, medium-sized businesses, mainly relying on our relationships with the big corporates, so that they improve their liquidity to buy their next consignment of goods and services. Okay. The exciting thing that we are doing at the moment that is relatively new, but we are talking about it. It was launched in September. We have what we're calling a Critical Minerals Fund. We've partnered with a German family office. And the idea there is to create the next generation of African owners of assets, mines. So we will help them with exploration, because that's the most difficult bit. Take them to bankability, and also identify off-takers for them, and then maybe partner with a big operator, or bring in contract miners, so that you have more of the Africans participating in the ownership of those mines. The focus is on critical minerals, and then of course for us with our backyard, we'll probably be mainly copper focused. But it's something I'm very, very excited about. It takes up about 50% of my time at the moment. It's something that we really want to work on. It's not easy, but we've made a lot of good progress. Our German partners are fantastic. They've been able to bring in the EU, the German government, to back us. And once we've completed that process, we would then see what sort of support we can get from providers of capital in Africa. We already know who has the concessions. We know where those people who want to further the exploration are based. So as I said, very, very exciting stuff for us.
That's fantastic. So we're here today, obviously, Private Sector Day, part of the PPDF program. What's your outtakes for the day, and what have you found most interesting?
Yeah, I have to be honest, when it was being set up, I was a little bit skeptical. I think we've had many sessions in Zambia of similar events under different titles, which turn out to be a lot of talk and praises, but very little
Talking
execution. Talking shop, if that's the term you want to use.
Yeah.
But I think there have been some really genuine discussions. I feel that the team at PPDF really wants to succeed at what they're looking to accomplish. It was good to hear from the last session some of the things they've been able to address and pull through. It's been great hearing the president recognizing not only what they've accomplished, but where there's also quite a lot of work to do. So obviously with what we are doing, we'll track that closely.
Yeah.
We are bringing in international capital, especially from the critical minerals perspective.
Okay.
And we would want that fund to succeed and support Zambians who have mining concessions, as opposed to focus on countries maybe that are seen to be a little bit more friendly, like in Namibia, Botswana, and so on and so forth. Of course, we'll look at those markets. It's a regional fund. But hopefully with what PPDF is doing, this is a platform that we can go to with any challenges that we might have, how we deploy capital into Zambia, how we work with the cadastre to verify that the owner of the asset is legitimate, and so on and so forth. So it's been a good day. It's been a good day.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, Pangaea Securities are one of the main sponsors of the day-to-day PPDF, which is Public-Private Dialogue Forum. And from what you're saying, Mr. Siwale, beyond just sponsoring an event like this, you're looking to work more closely with the PPDF going forward.
Yeah, I think we have to come to that realization for us to succeed. The country is in a tough spot. We've obviously defaulted on obligations that we had to third parties. So attracting capital in Zambia, for Zambia, is not as easy. So again, where I'm spending a lot of time, if we look at the Critical Minerals Fund, we have the fund registered in Luxembourg. We'll do a secondary registration in Zambia. And it's a lot easier to attract capital into those countries, but then we can deploy into the region. And so I think to get the messaging across amongst the different stakeholders, the private and public sector have to work together. We have no choice. I'd like to believe the end game for all of us is the same. You know, we want to get to the same place with the country. And the same extent to what is our core business, what we're known for, the capital market in Zambia. How do we transform the stock exchange? How do we get more listings? How do we get more of the Zambian citizen participating to buy the shares, but even the pension funds, and also hold, obviously, accountable that the returns that are generated to the shareholders are there. So there's a need for a realignment. I think there's a need for an honest conversation amongst all the parties. I did say, I had a presentation actually, I was on stage earlier. Yeah. And yeah, it was great. And I think the president in his closing remarks, he quoted me a couple of times, but
that's great.
Yeah, I think so. But, and it's that kind of interaction I think that is needed. But what worries me is, you know, we were the pioneers in the second phase of the capital market. So South Africa, Kenya were around a long time ago. But those of us from the 1990s, Zambia was a real pioneer. But if you look at Botswana, which came much later, the Botswana Stock Exchange is at $43 billion in market cap. We're at 3.8 billion. We're very small. If you look at mobilization of savings into the capital market, whether it's equity, fixed income, Botswana has got a total of 12 billion with 2 million people. We have 4 billion with 20 million people. So there's clearly something where we're challenged with the savings. And I don't believe it's an argument just that because they've got diamonds. I think there's other factors at play here. So we need to get all the pillars of access to capital right. It's not just the commercial banks. I think the commercial banks are doing what they're doing, what they're supposed to be doing. But the capital market must function. The pensions and insurance must function. And thirdly, also, we must create private capital, whether it's private equity, private credit, and all of these don't exist, well, the vast majority outside of the commercial banks don't exist in our market.
Okay, so your own sentiments in terms of your expectation going into the future, how you see the capital markets shaping up. Do you have any insights for us on that?
Yeah, I think if I was writing the playbook, obviously others have got different KPIs. I think we should be, because we're such at an early stage, we should really be a market that's innovation driven, and we are allowed to experiment with different ways of raising capital. as opposed to the system that we have now, which is risk-based. And so you anticipate the risk.
Yeah.
But if you're always anticipating the risk, then the people who are innovative will not come forward.
Yeah.
And instead, what we will do is cut and paste what has been done in other parts of the world.
Yeah.
And try and do it here, because at least you've got a reference point and say, well, the risk in that country, in America, was mitigated as follows. But we are chalk and cheese, you can't compare. When I started my career, the Zambian market was very innovative. We were the pioneers of that. We took international financing instruments and we localized them.
Yeah.
You know, and that worked very well for the capital market. Today, for the most part, that has disappeared. If you look at the LUSA today, and we are a shareholder in the market, but if you look at the LUSA today, you know, in 10 years, we've had 2 listings. The last listing was in 2020. The volume that's traded has come down. So clearly that capital has gone elsewhere. And we need to identify where has it gone, how do you bring it back? The macros are being addressed by the Ministry of Finance. So what is the other stuff that we need to do to bring the market where it used to be? That for me, I think, is with the innovation would attract potentially more listings, more secondary capital raisings like rights issues and private placements and debt issuances. At the moment, the market is quite quiet.
Okay. And what about mass participation of the population in capital markets, and especially with technology, the advent of new technologies? How would you see that shaping up?
Yeah, so I think 2024 is going to be my last attempt to create an app. We've been talking about this for the last 4 or 5 years. Okay. And there's always been a barrier, a hindrance. I know the LUSA decided to do their own app. That didn't work. The market didn't adopt it. It had some challenges to it. So there's something that we're working on, but you're spot on. We should be able to trade on an app today like the rest of the world does. But there are also a few other things that are there. The stock exchange opens at 11:30 and closes at 1:30. With technology today, I don't see any reason why the exchange should not open at 9 a.m. and close at 16 hours. When you trade, so if you're selling your shares, even through a broker, and there's a buyer on the other side, the trade confirmation only happens, you're only notified of the trade confirmation at 16 hours. I think there's no reason why we can't have it in real time. Yes. And what would happen for the layman is that's when you'd see that squiggly line, when it looks like a patient, and it's because every time you trade, you get a confirmation. So whilst here, you're only told at the end of the day. So it looks like it's a flat line. Precisely. So that's from my perspective, it's not a big thing for us to be able to change. And if you can do that, you also give the market real-time access to the market. Then they can see, okay, there's this much being sold. They're still trading through a broker through the app, but they're able to feel empowered that they're executing. Absolutely. The LUSA has got a new chief executive. He starts in the new year. I like him a lot as involved in the interview process. He is, I think he'll be a fresh breath of air, and I think he is somebody who will try to make the next decade of the LUSA his own. So that would be my hope, but I am very bullish about him. Of course, I also hope the regulator will work with us because it's in uncharted waters on some of the things we're going to try. But I'm excited about the new chief executive at the LUSA. Fantastic.
Well, Mr. Siwale, thank you very much for sitting with us today. It's been a real pleasure getting your thoughts and insights about your involvement in capital markets in Zambia.
Oh, thanks very much. We're on a good run, but we're going to seize the moments. At the moment. That's my feeling about Zambia. And think out of the box, be creative. Otherwise, the opportunities there. I heard the president talking about people flying in and they get the opportunities. So where are we missing it? And I think those are the kind of conversations we need to have. The building blocks are there.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
For that. Ladies and gentlemen, exciting things ahead in the capital markets in Zambia. This is the FIZ show. My name is Clarence Chongo. I've been sitting here with Cesar Siwale. He's the CEO of Pangaea Securities. And Thank you for watching and get to know.